DeskPi sent this RackMate TT, a 10-inch mini rack with 3U of rack space, but it has a party trick. Flip it on its side and it has 5U of 5-inch rack space. I don't know how small we can get, but I've been working through different designs with DeskPi for a few months, and I'm happy to see how quickly they respond to feedback. Not only mine, but half the mini rack products they make now are the direct result of people like you giving them ideas. But this video is on the TT specifically. It's on pre-sale right now for $60, but I'll update with a link to Amazon once it's on sale there. The first version of the TT I tested had horizontal mounting holes on one side and vertical holes on the other side. This final version has holes everywhere, kind of like the cage I have on my camera that has mounting points on every side. Why? Because it gives you flexibility. Like if you want to flush mount a 10-inch PDU right on the back, but mount up 4 Mac Minis on the front. Vertically, you can't fit a mini ITX motherboard or a half rack switch like you can horizontally, but it might be perfect if you're building a little mini PC or Mac Mini cluster. I'm gonna put this thing together and we'll see how it goes. One quick note, I actually have, this is the earlier version. You can see in the picture even, it has the holes on the sides here, but not on the top, and on the back side it had the holes on the sides, and well, at the top, it's confusing when you can put it two different ways. But one other thing that they've been doing is they're improving the packaging because they make these not in the US and they ship them to the US. You can see the package here is a lot smaller. And that's helpful because if you bring down the shipping charges, if you're shipping a pallet of these or a whole container full of these, the shipping charges are way less if you can fit like 100 more of these on a pallet. It also reduces the emissions cost of shipping these. The weight is about the same, but the size of the box is smaller. And I think they also changed the packing material based on feedback that they got from emails and comments on other YouTube videos about these things. So anyway, DeskPi, in my opinion, one of the good ones, and that's why I'm happy to keep talking about their products. I've been going back and forth with them, giving my feedback on these things to try to make them better. And yes, they are a lot more expensive than just building your own out of an IKEA little box or just buying rails. I built a lamp rack, buying a lamp and putting little rack rails in it. You can do that kind of stuff, it's fine. And if you want to DIY it, that's great. But some people want a metal option that's a little more robust. Some people want to just buy something and have it set up in a few minutes. And that's great too. And will this vertical 5-inch form factor stick? I don't know. It'd be cool if it does. It's just another smaller size that can fit in more places. You could put 2 of these side by side and bolt them together. That's another option. But anyway, let's get this put together. So this is the first time I'm trying this out, and I don't even know if you can see this. So I'm gonna go over here and look at this camera. This is the second channel. We do weird stuff here. So let's see, this is the manual. I just got this box yesterday, so I have not opened it. They also include the tools, which is helpful, and they don't just have cheap junk tools. I actually have put these in a couple of my little toolboxes because they're decent little tools. They're not ones that you just throw away afterwards. So it does take a few minutes to put this together, but it includes, I think, 2 shelves. And these shelves do a lot of things. You can do, it says hard drives, so you could have hard drives underneath the computer, SBCs like the Jetson or the Raspberry Pi. I'm not going to test out all of these different options today, but here's their whole lineup, the TT, T0, T1, T2. I mean, at some point, are they going to make like a 42U mini rack? I don't know. That'd be pretty crazy, but it'd be fun. I don't know exactly what material this is, but apparently this is more recyclable than whatever they were using before, the foam stuff. But anyway, let's see what we got. We have the acrylic panel. These are probably the sides. More acrylic. These are the top and bottom. Here's some handles. Handles Messiah. And there's a tray. That's surprisingly rigid, more than I thought it would be. That's interesting. Here's one of these sides, and so this is the difference between the prototype that I was using and this final one. It has holes everywhere, all around the sides, so that is nice. And then there's 2 of those, so there's one side and the other side. And another thing that they've been doing to make this easier to put together is you can tell where these things go because one side has the routed out parts for these acrylic sheets. The other side doesn't. So this kind of has to go like this, and it doesn't matter which way because of the way that they designed it. So I like to see that where it's hard to do it wrong, especially when you're doing this. If you're not even reading the instruction manual, you can probably do it right. This is interesting with this very rigid packaging. These are a little bit harder to get out. Okay. Well, maybe just that first one. These other ones are a little easier. And then here in the bottom we have one rack shelf. Hopefully you can still see all this over here. Yeah, let me move this over a little bit so you can actually see the things I'm taking out. Here's those little gaskets, these little washers that go between the handle and the top surfaces. There's just a piece of foam. And then here's the second shelf. Oh, this is nice. So this is another one of those, like, after they build a bunch of these, they realize people keep asking us about the mapping or that kind of thing. This little piece of paper cost them probably a couple pennies to include, but just having it in here so that when you take this out, you see this, immediately you know, here's the different things I can put in here, here's the hole patterns for them. That's great. Like, I don't know, I wish more companies would spend the time that DeskPi has spent on these products to make them like user-friendly with the assembly process, with the guide and all that kind of stuff. Because if you just ship me this, I don't know what to do with this. Like, do you know what all these holes are for? No. Having a little graphic is very helpful. Then we have screws and bumpers, and then these are the screws to put all these things together. These screws are for this and the shelves, so I'll put those off to the side. And then here's the tools you get. There's a, look at that, it's even marked S2H2. I guess hex 2mm. And then this one is Phillips. And then this one is a little larger hex, it looks like. You know, and they're even magnetized. You can, I don't know if you can see that. You can't feel it, but you can see it in the video, hopefully. See how they're magnetized to each other. So very handy to have that set up out of the box. I will not need to get any other tools. I don't need to shill for Linux. I don't even need to shill for Linus Tech Tips here. Here's also a close shot of the dimensions. These are pretty spot on. You know, if you buy one of these and you're having something that's like 0.1 millimeters off, you might want to take your own measurements, but that's the specs for it. So the default shipment includes 2 rack shelves, so you need to buy 2 more if you wanted to put 4 mini PCs or Mac Minis on it. So step 1 looks like direction of the fixing rod. So these are, I think these are all identical. And then we'll need some of these screws. So I'm gonna put this through. I'm not even looking at the next page. I'm pretty sure this is the way it is. I think I remember this from the last one I built. We'll find out after a while. And I hope I didn't do this the wrong way. I think I did. I think I did all of these corners the wrong way. Shoot. Okay, we did it. These should just slot in. There we go. See, that's how that's supposed to work. Not the way I was doing it before. Okay. Whew. Well, that was my fault. But let's see, just for the benefit of them, they do have this picture here. I think this illustration might do a little better if they had another picture wider to show you which side this is facing or something like that. Because, I mean, who's going to sit there and read through all the directions to figure out exactly where this is? Because that, to me, this picture is a little bit confusing. Anyway, that's not a big deal, though. At least they do have a picture of it. And if you think through it a little bit more than I do, you'll probably figure that out. Top frame. So that fits nicely. And there we go. Just kind of wiggle a little bit. That's why you don't want to tighten the screws yet, because you want to get all of the screws in before you start tightening anything. I did notice if you load up a rack with a lot of heavy equipment and move it around a lot, some of these screws can loosen up a little bit. You could probably add a little Loctite if you wanted. in the studio have not had any issues, but it's the one that I take between home and here testing out different things. Someday I will finally make a video on my mini home lab. That day is not today. Okay, vertical mode. So they have different instructions for vertical versus horizontal. Okay, so we're going to try vertical mode first. And let me adjust this camera. Bring that up a little bit. There you go. Okay. Oh, and I only have 9 minutes of record time left. I better get a move on here. So you take a washer, stick it under there, and these screws go through the handle. It'd be cool if they could figure out a way to use one size hex head for all these things, because then you wouldn't have to have an entire extra screwdriver for it. I'm guessing there's an economic reason why having the smaller screws on the sides and the bigger ones on the top and bottom work out in their favor. Because it seems if you could reduce the number of components included, you could reduce the price, but on the flip side, these might need the bigger screws and the sides might not, and that could also be a price-saving option. If you install these in the vertical mode, they do, because those washers are a little bit malleable, they kind of tilt in a tiny, tiny bit, which, you know, if you have OCD, that could be an issue, but it's not bad. It's not noticeable unless you're looking for it. On the sides, it goes right against this metal, so there's none of that. It's like perfectly rigid. But let's put these feet on the bottom. Okay, new memory card, vertical mode. I don't think that there's really a front or a back here, so I'm just gonna go this way. Can you see this? If I do this, you can see it in both camera angles, and then that makes it easier for me to switch between them when you need to cover up something like a cough, a sneeze, or something that I don't want in the video. At this point, I just realized I was not recording on that camera this entire time, so we will use the footage from this camera because this is level 2 Jeff and things go wild here. I was pointing this out in a way that that camera could not see it, that there you go. There's mini PCs and Mac minis, and the power, you can put the thing back there. The other party trick that this has though is you can turn it on its side and mount things horizontally. I'm not going to go into that deeply. Basically, you take these two handles off, you put them on the top or the top, whichever side is the top, it doesn't matter. Take the rubber bumper feet, put them on the other side, and obviously you'd want to take these out of the rack so that they don't fall over. Although you could do it that way, that would work. Not very stable, but you could. And then you can put in anything this way. And so, whether that's power distribution units, it could be network switches, whatever. You have 3U, which is not a whole lot of rack space, but you can fit 8 Raspberry Pis and a 2.5 gig PoE switch in that if you really wanted to, and have a very portable rack. If you take the handles off, it even fits nicely inside of a carry-on luggage bag. So anyway, level 2 Jeff for you.